Hi, I'm Tatum Skipper, and welcome to Jackson County Today. Jackson County has a lot to offer. Let's take a look.
One of the aspects of any small town, and certainly we see it here in Graceville, is it's obvious that there has been sort of an exodus out of that small town. Walmart moves into an area. We've got a great partnership with Walmart. They're an asset. They're a resource to the community. But at the end of the day, they still do affect small business.
They do.
Sometimes not always in a good way.
Right.
They are an employer. They do contribute significantly to the economic development of an area. They bring a lot of people. For instance, the Walmart in Chipley draws from Marietta and Bonifay and even the Lynn Haven area.
Correct.
But it still does negatively impact to some extent. Looking around Graceville, it's not unlike downtown Chipley. You have a lot of empty storefronts.
That's right.
Talk about what you've seen just in your history here.
Okay, when we first came to the downtown, you know, the customers that have been at the store, we were able to keep that same population of customers that we had when we began, but we also wanted to expand out a little bit and introduce, even to the younger crowd, a historical pharmacy that can still be modern in fulfilling your prescriptions and having good customer service. You know, the outside of the building has undergone a change. We wanted to keep the pharmacy old in a sense, but we wanted to make some updates to it that would draw that younger crowd too. And you know, we've tried to improve the outer appearance of the store. We've tried to clean up the area that we have in hopes to promote more businesses to come downtown, to draw crowds in, you know, from Dothan and Chipley, Marietta, Cottondale, all of those areas, even, you know, parts of lower Alabama other than Dothan, Slocum, Fayette, those communities too, to downtown. But when we draw them, we want our appearance to be presentable, neat, fun, and all of those things. And you know, it is our goal that other businesses will come to this area. Graceville used to be, I hear stories all of the time about the bustling community that it was. The department stores lined the streets, hardware stores lined the streets, theaters, restaurants, and you know, people even talk of on the weekend, on Saturdays, the sidewalks were so full that they were so crowded you could barely even get by. And I'm not sure that it will ever return to that, but I hope that this area in our pharmacy, you know, we have crowds, and you know, the more updates that get done to these older buildings, I think the better off the future will be for Graceville.
Well, and you're right, and it's well said. You've got only one chance to make a good first impression. Right. If you invite people in, you better have something that's going to perform, or you've lost that chance. And worse than losing that chance, they're not going to come back.
Right.
You mentioned trying to retain the old. When it comes to pharmacy, when it comes to pharmaceuticals and drugs and your health, you don't want the old, you want cutting edge. So what you've done here is successfully meld the cutting edge technology of the health aspect and the pharmacy with the old-fashioned soda fountain and penny candy and hand-dipped ice cream. I would imagine that, and going back to what you said about the bustling community, Vonette and Bobby, just a couple of doors down with the quilt shop, he remembers as a teenager coming out of the theater at 11 o'clock at night on a Saturday and the streets being full. But that was the nature of the farming community, that agriculturally based economy that you had with the peanuts and the cotton.
Right.
We live in a different world.
That's right.
You are fortunate insofar as, although we do live in that different world, you're able to retain, and more importantly, to enjoy and to promote that old part of what was. I can imagine that you get a lot of first-timers come in here and go, oh, wow, I haven't seen penny candy in years. I haven't seen a real soda fountain or hand-dipped ice cream. Talk a little bit about that.
Okay, I will. And you mentioned Walmart and our pharmacy trying to compete with big retailers like that. You know, a lot of them mass produce their medications. They can purchase them in huge volumes, which allows them to have very cheap prices. And we try to get as close to those retailers that we possibly can, but where we want to excel above and beyond them is in our service, our one-on-one interaction with our patients. You know, they can come to any one of these pharmacy windows and have personal service at any time. They are welcome to call us, come by. You know, we have made another modification to the building, which was installing a drive-through window, which adds convenience. You know, a lot of times families with small children, if it's raining or they've been to the doctor and one may be taking a nap, it's just a pain to get them unbuckled and get back in the car. So we've installed that for convenience, but that we did not want that to turn into losing our walk-in customers and them feeling like they can't walk in to greet us here. And we see some of our customers on a daily basis, and we truly love to see them. And so that's one aspect that we want to go above and beyond their service to the patients. And then we also want to compete with pricing. And you know, sometimes it is difficult for us to match their prices. We will try at any cost.
Well, and price is not everything. And there's a place for every business, just like there's a place for every person. And I like the way that you're saying that what you're trying to put that magnifying glass on is the service. We've been here just a short while, and I hear people being greeted by their first name when they walk up to the pharmacy counter. That's something you're not necessarily going to get in the big box stores. Right. And we're obviously not talking bad about any business, but again, there's a place for everybody. If you prefer that atmosphere and you want to do a one-stop shop, then that is what you want. If you prefer that small town atmosphere and you don't want to drive 20 miles to the closest big box store and you live right here, could you survive just on the user base that you've got within a 20-30 minute ride of right here?
Yes. Definitely.
Well, then that says it all, because
we do need to grow as a pharmacy.
Sure.
And that's some of the things we're working on now, marketing to these outer communities as well. And we've got a few ideas in the works right now to broaden that base. But yes, we could definitely survive for years to come, you know, with the current customers we have and growing some more. That's definitely our goal.
Well, and I have to compliment you on your retailing. Just like the grocery stores put the milk and the bread at the very back of the store, so you have to walk past everything else, you've done the same thing. Whether it was on purpose or not, you effectively have done the same thing. They have to walk by, and I have to compliment you on your array of jewelry and fashions and footwear, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But effectively, they have to walk by all of your items, which I can't help but think are a very large part of that revenue stream, to get to those pharmacy prescriptions, which you may have to sometimes almost have as a loss leader and offer at maybe sometimes even at cost just to be able to compete.
That's exactly right.
But where you can make it up, obviously, is at your one-stop shop. They can come in here and enjoy all the rest of it. Talk a little bit about your fashions and jewelry and so forth.
I'll be glad to. We just recently started carrying apparel in the store this past fall in October, and Graceville also used to have small clothing stores, and right now there's only one remaining, which is the VF Outlet, which is a great store. We wanted to have some products different than they carry, but we also wanted to have fashion jewelry. You never know what you might see in here. We just like to keep things changing, and we are the only store in town other than the dollar store that has toys and other gifts like that too. So that's important, and we try to keep our prices reasonable and to where our customers, you know, there are brands and things we cannot carry in the store due to our customer base, and that's fine with us because all of us love fashion jewelry, fashion clothing, and that's important, but it's also important to keep the prices in the right range.
Yeah, within the right range, but it's not all about price. It's really not. Those who are discerning customers, on one hand, you've got those on fixed income, those who are really experiencing the economic heartburn that we are all experiencing to some extent right now, and we get that. You have to be cut to the bone to be able to get their business. Right. I can't help but think that their business is not necessarily the predominant part of your business, because you've got a very large segment that comes here just because it's a cool place.
That's right.
And so just like 30A has grown and caters to that, affluent family who has disposable income, who isn't on a fixed income,
Right.
I think that looking around, you appeal in some part to that audience that just wants to come in here, and again, cost not being the predominant factor in their buying decision.
I would say we appeal more to middle class families, and that's, to us, more of our comfort level. That's the way that I grew up, and that's the way that most of the employees in this pharmacy are, and I guess that is we target that income range even a little bit higher. But in Jackson County, that middle income is the backbone of this county.
Well, you know, and we talk about the big box stores, and we talk about that competition. Competition is good. Just like in the health world, a little bit of stress is good. They say if you retire and you sit in a rocking chair and you have no stress, that you're going to not last very much longer.
Right.
You need challenge. You need stress. Just since we've been sitting here, we see characters from all over the county walk in. A friend of ours, Homer Hurt, here now. And talking about competition, I noticed that within sight of your front door, there's another competing pharmacy. So again, that small town, but not so small that it can only support one business doing what you do, which is a good thing. Because if you had that monopoly and you were the only one here, you might enjoy that monopoly, but you wouldn't enjoy that competitiveness or the stress that comes from trying to get better all the time.
That's right. Yeah, there's a healthy challenge that comes along with any competitor that would match your services in any town.
Well, we really appreciate you taking the time. We've enjoyed our time in Graceville. We realize more and more that once you get outside the county seat of Mariana, that there is so much more to Jackson County than meets the eye, and just simply taking that extra block or two off of the main drag, so much to be enjoyed. What is your biggest challenge running a business such as you do?
Well, the biggest challenge we have and that we face on a daily basis, the way that we're situated here on Brown Street and 7th Avenue, is the parking. The street only allows for a small amount of parking, and I think that some things could be done as far as city planning goes. Maybe a rearrangement of parking spaces on a more diagonal basis instead of parallel, that would accommodate for more cars, and that we constantly are thinking of ways that we can improve that as well. So that right now is our biggest challenge.